Good evening and salutations, my Days of Lost fans. This whole Tate situation, I've had very mixed feelings about it because EJ has been a absolute 100% certified dick about this whole thing with Tate, right? And I felt what Tate did was just stupid. Okay. And I know people are saying, well, he's just a kid. He was young. He panicked. I don't give a shit. What he did was stupid. And so he got sent to jail. He got beat up. I don't wish that on anyone, right? So he got sent to a juvie place. And when his parents come to see him, he acts like an absolute dick to them. And watching him blame his parents for the situation that he got himself into. Let's be very clear. Okay? Yeah, he saw her on the ground and he saw the stuff and he picked it up like an idiot. That's on him. That is not on his parents. I do not understand why he's not there blaming his parents. Oh, well, I'm not the addict. I'm not an addict. You are. You know what? Honestly, tell you the truth, now I don't feel bad for him. Now I really don't feel bad for him because he did that to himself. So I feel bad for his parents. If I'm going to feel bad for anyone, I feel bad for his parents. Let that idiot sit there and rot. That's how I'm looking at this whole thing. Because it was completely um, just a trash ass move to sit there and come at his parents like that. And, they tell him that Holly is doing a lot better, and he starts to assuming that she's going to clear him. They're like, hey, listen, she may not remember. She may not want to get herself in trouble. And she got EJ as a stepdad. We got to be realistic about this. So, once again, he goes back to just being an absolute dick. So, whatever happens to him, happens to him. Let him rot before I care. I don't want anything bad to happen to him in prison or juvie, just to be clear. But if he rots in jail, oh well. Jada, 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 Jada. You know, ever since this whole Bobby thing has been coming into play, she's been acting like an absolute nut job. Well, you need therapy. You need to move on. And you have moved on. You moved on with, I was going to call him Lucky, you moved on with Eric and then you moved on with Rave. Why are you sitting there acting like this jealous ex girlfriend? It is sad. It is pathetic. You need therapy. She barges in this man's house. She comes out with all this information about him. I'm like, you know what you need? A restraining order. I'm pretty sure that's well, I don't want to sit there and say police brutality, but I'm pretty sure what she's doing can be considered unethical, and he can sue for that, and she can probably lose her job. But of course, she's in her feelings. And when people are in their feelings, they just do whatever they want and think about the consequences. Well, never. So she comes in there and she has all this proof and marriage license and everything like that. Meanwhile, you got Stephanie meeting Steve, and he talks about the hospital that he was in. Can't get the medical records, but from what it sounds like, he's like, yeah, I think it's going to be. I think Everett is Bobby or Robert. I don't understand how you get Bobby out of Robert, but whatever. Um, and then Jada asks him to do a fingerprint test. He does it, and it comes back as Bobby. Even has a marriage license and photos. So now she's just on some, you know, yelling, screaming, just doing this whole song and dance, and it's just completely unnecessary. Listen, let's just sit there and say it played out the way that she is telling this story. Scumbag move. Yes. Completely understand that she's hurt and she's angry at him. She's mad at him, right? And I get that part. But this whole yelling and temper tantrum thing, it's turning me off as far as having some true level of compassion because I'm just so irritated by every time she starts acting like a 12-year-old little girl. Now, Stephanie comes in, well, she knocks on the door, and like Jada, dumbass, that just barged on in. And, Jada's like, listen, I found some proof, be careful. And she walks out. So now Stephanie's like, listen, I don't know what's going on. And, we're talking about this whole accident thing, but the accident happened after you met me. So that means that you had a life with this girl and you was with me and then the accident happened and you just can't remember it. But that doesn't take away from the fact that at that time you were a scumbag, right? And he's swearing up and down, I don't know this woman, da 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 da, this, that, and the third. And then he nearly collapses. There's one point where she rushes up to him and she's like, well, if you're faking this, I'm like, well, I don't know who keeps sitting there gassing your head up like you're all that, and he has to sit there and men got to really sit there and try to do whatever they can to sit there and keep you, but you ain't. But she looks at his skin, realizes it's kind of pale, and she's like, no, listen, let's just take you to the hospital. Now Ava goes to Rafe and it's like, hey, my son is missing. I was informed for Harris. And, she doesn't tell him everything. But she does call Steve. And when Steve gets there, she tells him the same thing. She's like, Trip and Wendy are missing. But this time because he's like, yo, listen, what else? Because the last time something like this happened, you didn't tell me the whole thing. And I don't have time for this. So she tells him everything. And so now he's like, oh, I'm going to sit there and find my son. I'm like, yeah, but it came out of her womb. So just point that out. But, he tells her, hey, listen, when I get back, you know, um, turn yourself in. Now, the person that she did get the statement from, because Rafe was like, Goldman, come in and take her statement. Goldman was with Trip and Wendy, and they wake up and they're like, "What happened? Why does my throat hurt?" I'm just like, "How do you not remember you yelling and screaming?" She's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, if it was chloroform, then I would understand that, but like that doesn't really make sense. Granted, they had to sit there and do that to sit there and tell us what wound up happening. I don't think the green screen was really necessary. They could have did without the green screen. They really could have. It looked bad, and it was just unnecessary. And I felt the need to point that out. Yes. Um. So yeah, they try to look for a way out. Then Goldman comes in, and she brings him some food and stuff, and tell him to ration it. So at this point, they're just talking, trying to guess where they are. And Wendy's like, how did I sit there and miss something like that? I mean, it would make sense. I mean, she did seem like she was kind of visually shaken when she um took down that dealer. But yeah. Now I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else that wound up happening. I feel like in some ways, like don't get me wrong, OJ the situation is painful, it's messed up and everything like that. I get that, but that seemed like that happened years ago, right? That happened years ago. He ghosted you, whatever. Happened years ago. I feel like they are amping it up. I feel like they are over exaggerating Jada's feelings, her anger, and everything like that. It's like they're ramping it up to like 9 or 10 pretty much. I mean, she's acting like she is like this happened 2 weeks ago or a month ago or 2 months ago. And granted, she got out the academy or whatever, she graduated the academy or something like that, and she's a detective at this point. That's something that took time. Okay, that was not an overnight process. It seemed like this happened a long time ago, and yet they're playing her emotions like this didn't happen that long ago. And I think that's another reason why it's just kind of annoying me. It's like, bro, it's happened years ago. Yeah, you have a right to be upset, but she's yelling, she's screaming, she practically was like, I want to sit there and assault you. I'm like, you do realize you're a cop, right? Like, you even sit there saying that is a threat. That's my issue with this whole Bobby Everett. It's like, okay, then either A, he's a scumbag and you need to sit there and move on, or B, you are dead ass wrong and you're going to owe this man a huge apology. And you're going to look like a dumbass doing it because she's taken it to a level where it's not really that serious. And I know that they're trying to do this with drama and stuff like that, but goddamn, you guys got to do a little bit more better than that. Seriously, you gotta do a little more better than that. This, come on, let's stop and think about it. Would something like this have really cut it in the '90s or the '80s? Come on. Anyway, that's all I can really think of. If I forget anything, write it in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.